Take two. I forgot to turn on my microphone. So I am going to break down a chuck roast for you to have this information. There are other videos. I watch them as many as you can to get good at it. This is my second week buying a chuck roast to satisfy my carnivore needs. And it's more than just a budget thing. It's actually a taste thing. It's really, really good. So, give you a little background. The first time I got a chuck roast, I went and instant cooked it, and it's basically a pot roast. Now, pot roast I think is fabulous. However, it's not something I can eat every meal. But what I can eat every day is steak and red meat. So, I was going to get a chuck roll. However, for me to get the chuck roll in a price point that I think is competitive, I would have to go outside of what I'm doing. And I am trying to stay as local as possible. I don't like big places with lots of people. And I really would like to support the local economy. And so I have a local butcher and slaughterhouse right down the road from me. And I love them. And so my cows, they are, I'm pretty sure, conventionally raised. However, they live 2 miles away from me. And that's wonderful. You know, you do the best you can with what you can. And I really love these guys. So, this is the second week of me getting a chuck roast. So, what you want to see is that little line going through the center. Show you this side. This side is better. See the fat going right through the center? You can buy these at your grocery store. I just rather, I don't, right at this point, I don't trust meat coming from the grocery store. The more fake meat videos keep coming up and I keep freaking out and I don't want none of that. So I am really happy with where I get my meat, and so that's where I'm getting it. So last week I ordered it. I cut it up in steaks. Extremely happy. It lasted me all week. That doesn't mean this time it's gonna last me all week. It depends on how hungry I am, how often I eat. But I was able to have steak at every meal for 7 days. Sometimes I had two because I was extra hungry. Um, Sometimes I had one because it was an extra thick cut. But we're gonna try and do it as uniform as possible. Now, this is a single woman. I'm a ketovore, so that means I'm less than 5% net carbs per day. And my favorite meat right now is beef. Straight up. When I get done cutting this up, I am actually going to make a hamburger. So I did purchase hamburger meat to make sure that I had buffer on the ends. And I did eat a pound of Italian sausage this week too. Kind of sprinkled out as a filler, like as a place where I was hungry, but I didn't need a meal and I didn't want to cheat. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and turn it down. My hands are already clean. So, I wanted you to know that. Somebody's trying to call me. I don't know why. But I can't answer them right now because I'm talking to you. So, let me go ahead and get this cut. Let me show you. This is hard. I'm sorry. I just want it to be good. You can see the whole cutting board, yeah? Okay. Ugh. I think I got it tightened up. So yeah, I got two Japanese steels. I used this one last week. I think this one might do better. They're sharpened. Japanese steel, if you purchase any. This is Kamikoto. They're a soft steel. It's not like a German steel or a Canadian steel. Those are harder. And so they hold their sharpness a little longer. This is my experience. So grab yourself your kitchen shears or scissors or whatever. And you go ahead and you might just be able to rip this out of the wrapping at a regular grocery store, but if you get it from a butcher, you're going to get it like this. Now, this meat was processed this week. This cow died this week, and that's pretty great. So, my place, they actually sell their own meat at their counter. They also sell their meat, and they also serve as the place where other growers can have their meat processed, and then their customers can come pick it up. And yeah, that's what's going on. So this is a pretty nice piece. Look at that. So this here is what you want to see. And so first thing you want to do is you want to thank God for this gorgeous piece of meat. Thank God for the most nutritionally available food that you can purchase is meat, red meat from a ruminant animal. So this side is the Denver steak side. You see how the marbling is kind of like little waves? This side is the eye, which I think tastes better than a ribeye right now. That's just my feelings. And the other side should be pretty similar. Yep, it is. So what you want to do, I'm trying to decide which side should I come at it from. You don't need a knife yet. You just need to put your thumb in there and split it. So that's why you want to have clean hands. If you don't like the feel of meat, I don't know why, but maybe you're having a big barbecue right now and you're cutting this up so you can make steaks, and your friends and family are there and they don't want to see you touching the meat, then don't. Put gloves on. So just giving a little head start. Some of that fat's a little wild. And you can pull and pull. And you're going to separate the two types of meat. Oh, there's a little bit. That's the fascia holding that fat on. All right. Look at this crazy sauce. I love it. And that one. See, that should be sharper. That should definitely be sharper. So now we have two different meats. So we have a Denver steak. Okay. And now we have an eye steak. Okay. Now look how big this is. What are you to do? You're going to slice them into steaks. This one, oh, I like to have at least two thick steaks out of this. But I'm a little nervous. I don't want to. This side might be easier. Nope, that side will not be easier. Some people will actually take all this off. I'm not going to do that. What you can do is after you've cut the steak, you can slice it or even slice it in the beginning so this way your steak doesn't curl like you know how pork chops do. Let's go ahead and get one going. Let me move this over here. I've got a rack on the side here that I'm going to put salt on my steaks and let it sit in the refrigerator for a little bit. Why am I doing it that way? I'm actually, oh, that's what I was thinking. I want a knife. Oh, not a knife, a fork. So I got me a crooked fork. I just need some help holding it down. And I'm going to cut my thicker steak right here. I hope this one is. No. You want a sharp knife, guys, okay? These are sharp, but they're not sharp. Should have sharpened before. But I just have a whetstone, and I don't even know if I'm doing it right. You know? All right. I feel like that does a little better. So this is the chuck eye part that I'm cutting. I don't think I really needed that. So I'm just dealing with some tough holding on fascia in the meat right there. The cat thinks that he's a dog, so he comes after me for bacon and everything. So, although it's not the best, prettiest thing, it's freaking delicious. and it's an I. So I'll go ahead and put that over here on my rack and keep going. Now, I'm thinking I wish I had sharper knives. Let me go ahead and pause, sharpen my knives, and I'll be right back. I'm back. So fast. Let's hope that these are sharp now. Or this is the only one I sharpened. I feel like it's better. Okay. So there is another trick that I should have probably pulled off with you, but I really wanted to just make this video really fast. If you put your meat in the freezer for, like, say, an hour, it'll be easier to butcher. It'll just be a little stiffer. You know, especially if you are OCD and you want your steaks to be absolutely beautiful, perfect looking, you might want to do that. Because that's not perfect looking. But when you squish it together, it looks really nice. So, I love that. How many more? I can make 2 more steaks here. Maybe I'll come at it from this end. So if you wanted to, you could pull this stuff off and probably make that slicing a little easier. But since I'm not a professional butcher, and my knife is questionable with its strength, or its, how sharp it is, I'm not going to play. I just don't want to do that. So sharp knives are a good idea. Don't freak. Gonna be fine. Proper knives would be smart too. This is definitely not meant for this. Kind of getting a little frustrated, if you ask me. But that's part of life, right? And you might be getting frustrated. And this way you can know that you're not alone. Tara gets frustrated too. So, well, make sure your knife is sharp. There is a local knife sharpener. Lives over by the Gibu Game Bird Hatchery, and that's where I bought my eggs last time. I like to continue buying my eggs from her. See if I can make an appointment and get these professionally sharpened. That'd be awesome. So here we go. Now we have 4 eye roasts. And they look better when you squish them together. I think they're fabulous. They taste so good. I'm just lining them up on my rack. I will show you the rack. Now we have the Denver steak. This is a little easier because it doesn't have the marble going like that. It's like little fissures of marble. And like I said, none of those came out really thick. You know, let's see if I can make one really thick. Oh, that looks nice. See, this is easier to cut. You could actually have these tied up with twine to make them easier to cut. And don't even say, oh, why didn't you have your butcher cut it for you? Because then it becomes a whole different thing. The price point changes. Everything changes. Then I'm buying Denver steaks and eye rounds. That's different. That is going to cost you more. You could see that at your grocery store. You could have Denver steaks and iChuck steaks right next to your chuck roast, and they're going to be a couple of dollars more a pound. That one's a nice thick one. That looks like dinner to me. But I should be able to get 4 more pretty thin steaks or regular. I like my steaks thick. But I also don't mind not having to take a long time to cook them, even though it doesn't take a long time to cook steak. But if I can stand there and just sear it and not be up standing in front of the hot grease so long, what I really need is an air fryer. But I want a good one And the one I want, it's expensive. Of course it is, because guess what? Tara likes the good shit. It's true. So the Denver steaks are really tasty, and this is how you want that marbling to look. Oh yeah, baby. Oh, I'm going to have to make room, and we'll do that together. Now, if my knife was sharper and I froze this meat, I could get even more steaks out of it because I could go thinner. But I didn't freeze it. And my sharpening skills are questionable. This is sharper than it was just a minute ago for you guys, but I don't think it was done properly. All right. Let's get this out of the way. Fancy's like, so when am I going to get to have some? That's what she's saying. So I've got a rack on a flat pan. Question: how many of you season your flat pans, or do you freak out and have to have that perfectly cleaned down to the aluminum? I personally like them seasoned. I don't really like the aluminum. So what does seasoned look like? Some of you will say that's disgusting and it's dirty. Others will be like, yeah, that's how I keep my pans. See that? It's seasoned. Every time I use it, I clean it, I scrub it. But so let's arrange these so that I got some air and I can salt to dry them. So there's the one big eyeball. That's the thicker cut one that I tried to cut. Let's turn that around. This is a smaller steak. Oh, look at this. Okay. Get that in there. All right. This is how it's going to fit. Good, because it wasn't fitting the regular way. So those are my eyes. I got 4 eyes. I got 1 Denver. This is a pretty nice Denver, too. So 1 Denver there. This is a really thin Denver, but a big one. So I'm going to squish it. I think I got it. And then here's another Denver. And the last one is the one I cut kind of thick. Looks like it has a little eye left on it, which is cool. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Denver steaks, 4 eye steaks. Last time I had 6 Denvers and 4 eyes. So it really depends on how you do with your cutting, how sharp your knife is, which is obvious. You just learned you need to have a sharp knife. And if you freeze it for an hour or 2 just to get it to be stiff, that'll help. You cut it even better. So let's see. Where's my salt? Here's my salt. It pulls flavor out and also takes some of the moisture out. Ta-da! I am going to put it like that right in my fridge. I'm going to leave it in there until later when I decide what I'm going to do for dinner. I am probably going to eat 2 of those. Either a thin Denver and a thick eye, or a thick eye and a thin Denver. We'll see. But that is just enough. It kind of tenderizes it. It's salt. I use either pink Himalayan or Baja. Definitely, if you're just starting, trying to eat healthier and get better and all that fun stuff, do your best to get the best salt you can. Iodized table salt is not good for you. Don't use that if you can help it. But this will be really nice. So a dry brine is basically 24 hours with salt. You should probably do both sides. I'm only going to dry brine until later. And I'm going to invent some marinade. So what I do with the marinade is salt and pepper. I have my allspice that I created for myself because I was tired of opening every single jar right here. Can you see? So this has got habanero powder, crushed red pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and I believe garlic, onion, habanero, paprika, and crushed red pepper. See, I put a label on there. And I just put as much as I wanted to in each, and this is pretty great. Add this with some olive oil to make a seasoning, or you could use a steak seasoning that you've purchased. Keep your eyes on your ingredients, guys. You know, just do the best you can. The best you can is all you can do. So if I want it juicier, I'm going to use an olive oil for a liquid. I did that last week with both of them, and they were fine. So I did season both sides differently. I did one with this and then one with a steak seasoning. Or a meat seasoning actually could go either way. I use this one because the carbs are really low in it. There's virtually none. It's zero. You can get dry spices. You don't think about carbs. And you could have a dry spice and you could be hitting. And this is nice. Kinder's is good. But you could be hitting. Oh, wow. That one's 0 too. Kinder's Prime Steak. That's what's going to go. What was the one? I had one that I was like, I don't know. Sometimes I don't see right either in the right light. This is going to go in the fridge. I have a spot all ready for it. Then I'm going to make myself a cheeseburger for lunch. I'm going to let the air go around that and the salt. So let me bring you up back here. Hi. You could get these with a bone in. Really hard to make a steak off of that. So you don't want the bone in if you're going to cut it into steaks. And if you do have it with the bone in, then you should probably cook it like a steak. Or you're going to be eating pot roast every night. And that's that. And I can't do that flavor every single night. So I put this in. I have a little rack for that. Bring out my chopped meat. And I'm going to make... I don't use my microwave, so I use it as storage for my spices. Isn't that funny? It really does. It pisses me off when I want to use the microwave, which is rare, because I got to pull everything out. So that's what's up. It's time to have a burger. My butcher wants me to make that giant burger again, see if I can do it. Pull it off again. I think I might, because this is tight. Well, this has got nice fat in it. And I just might do that. Let's play together since we're here. Have a big long video. Let's see, I'll put it right in this bowl that I had it in and see if I can make it nice and round. If I can, then cool. Then I can do it. And then I'll use a cast iron and just get her done. See, it's very tight. So I don't have to separate it. You see what I'm saying? This happened the week before last. I was hungry, did not want to play with the meat to turn it into multiple cheeseburgers. Did not want to have a, what do you call it? A meatloaf. I wanted a cheeseburger. So I made the whole thing into a cheeseburger and cooked it as such. There's no, I know that's not a pound, obviously. I think it's 1.5 pounds. Last one was closer to a pound. And I could have eaten the whole burger, but I did save it for 2 meals. But I just think that's really cool. I like my meat to taste like meat, so I don't necessarily want stuff inside my burger. But if you did, you could just go ahead and make it. But just cook it like a burger. Put it in the pan. I don't feel like doing it with you. Is that okay? Just heat up your skillet. Have some oil in it. Put that on there. Let it get brown. Take a big spatula or a spatula and a piece of parchment and flatten that fucker out. Not, I mean, it's to about there. If you can get it to about there. So, inch and a half. And keep cooking for a little bit. Maybe walk away for a second and then go back and flip it and do any more flattening that you think you may need, but you don't want to flatten too often because you'll take all the flavor right out and all the juice right out. And then once that's done, you're done. You'll be blown away. Your burger will be amazing. So I'm going to cook this. I'm going to cook it just like that. Tell you if I've been successful twice. So I'll see you on the other side. Bye.